Good evening, everybody. It's January the 10th, 2025. It's been one heck of a beginning to this new year. It sure started off with a bang, no doubt about it. Had a death on Monday that I reported for the homeless. Julie lost another friend who died this week. States had, unfortunately, bury Jimmy Carter, although he did live to 100 years old, a ripe old age. If I'd be happy if I could see 100, but I don't think that'll happen. And then now the fires in Los Angeles, and this is what I kind of wanted to bring up tonight because of the tragedy that's happening there, and how it's affecting all of us as well, and leaving more people homeless as well. And just seeing the devastation is horrible. And so I'm going to be putting up a video of what's been going on there as well in Las Vegas for those who may not have a chance or to actually see what's going on. Now, this video was taken on January the 9th, and at that time there was 5 fires. There was no control. I think they're getting one possibly under control right now, or reduced a bit. But everything went so fast due to the flames, and people were just fleeing as quickly as they possibly could to get out of the way when the evacuation orders were given. And seeing this was just terrific because it brings back, of course, when Jasper Park, one of our national parks here, burnt there over the early summer, and what happened there. And then, you see everybody rushing in, the fire equipment, and you haven't got enough manpower. You got 5 separate fires going, and they're huge, and they're going at a rate just gobbling up the earth right in front of them, this fire. And it's just taking everything in its path. And and then you hear the president, Biden, and thank goodness Biden's in right now, because he's made sure that FEMA and all the resources possible from the states are being diverted there as quickly as possible, as well as the state of California is using all their resources to get to the scene as well. And then, of course, you hear good old Donald Trump there, the next former next president again, who's going to be president shortly, saying that well, if it had been him, he wasn't going to send resources. And then he's saying, well, it's pretty pathetic because Canada here, we're sending our resources like we do normally if there's a fire. And this is what happens, is being neighbors. And this is why I put it, I titled it Neighbors Helping Neighbors. And this is a quote from our Prime Minister here when the fires broke out. And the federal government has got together, and last night they had, I think it was 255 people plus water bombers on their way down there. Quebec already had a couple of water bombers down there. BC had a couple of bombers and equipment down there. Ontario was sending, had 165 people ready to go for firefighters, and more water bombers to try and help put out the fire, as well as volunteers throughout the fire departments, even across Canada, are banding together to see how many that they could spare, if need be, to send them down to California, to Los Angeles, to try and get these fires out as quickly as possible. And last night they had at least 5 dead, and this morning when I woke up, it was 10 deads, and that's probably the count is going to go up as they get through what's left of the ruins. But it makes you realize how many people are homeless. And just to show you the area, this is why I'm going to put up the video that our local newsroom did for Ottawa, to show what the size of that fire is in Los Angeles, so people can get a scope by using our city. Most of our city would be gone. Literally, we would not have a city. And of course, this isn't the first time we had a fire. Back in 1900 in the little city of Ottawa, it ripped through this, it started in across the river in Hull, the city of Hull, and then it jumped the river because back then they had wooden shingles on the roofs. So the winds whipped them right across the river and set Ottawa on fire at the time. There's a lot of information on that. All you have to do is look it up. But it took out most of Ottawa at the time. So, and I remember again talking to the seniors before me and about the fire. So, and their memories of the fire, how people just had to flee in the middle of the night. It happened, and they were just fleeing with the pajamas on them, and the chaos that caused. And they didn't have really cars back then. They were grabbing their horses, because it was horse and buggy, they were grabbing the horses. They didn't bother hooking up the buggy. They just put their children on the horses and were fleeing, and people lost chickens and everything else. So I know that there's going to be pets lost. The huge loss of life on the animal life again is really, really going to be horrible. And it just pains me. And, this is something we cannot help. And seeing, because it's Mother Nature at work. And like right now, it's like we're in a deep freeze, and it's just horrible to see Los Angeles on fire. So we're in the deep freeze, they're on fire. And this has been a horrible way to start the new year, for sure. And I feel really badly that people are suffering, and thankfully because the States, as I said, we have a lot of people that related to people here in Canada, and a lot lived in California, and those losing their homes and had to flee. But fortunately, they were able, of course, being Canadian as well, came back over our border. We've had people coming in here to Ottawa by plane and that as well, and across Canada, rejoining family members who've taken them in during this terrible crisis that's happened. And don't forget, this is what happened on, as I put earlier in one of my videos, 9/11, when all the planes from American airspace had to be grounded. They were sent. Our airports brought the people in and make sure that the Americans were safe. So it's not little when the Prime Minister says neighbors help neighbors, and this is what we do even in our communities. And this is why it's really good to be very involved in your community as well. And it's so hard to describe it. It's just apocalyptic is what they say, and to see all this burning, and to realize that it's not going to be there. People are not going to have homes to go to, and who's going to be able to rebuild, who's not going to be able to rebuild, who's going to be homeless, are they going to be left on the street? Because I know Los Angeles as well as many cities in the United States as well have the homeless problem as well. So but then it makes you wonder, 5 different areas all at the same time went up, but it was in different areas, so it wasn't just one fire, and makes it a little bit suspicious. 5, like, was it an accidental? Was maybe a homeless person trying to cook something, or didn't put out a fire properly? It could. I'm interested certainly in finding out what caused these horrible fires, but it doesn't help the fact that people are being left homeless right now, and that's really horrible for me to see. And you're probably hearing my cat meowing in the background there, but I just wanted to put this video up just to let you see what's going on and dispel a myth that nobody's getting help. And of course, Trump's version of it was, oh, it's so pathetic, they can't get help, they have to call Canada in. Well, it's not that way at all. And I just want to give another disaster of where we were glad to have the States coming in around early 1900. We had an ammunition ship that was docked in Halifax Harbor, and it was a munition ship, and something happened and it blew, and when it blew, it flattened Halifax. And at that time, the Americans came up from Vermont and only the States, and from Boston and all that area, and they helped us. They came over the border in that disaster as well. So this is a long standing that we have with our neighbors and our friends and our family down in America as well. And to commemorate that, our gratitude for what they did back on when the ship blew up on the harbor. Every Christmas, we send a Christmas tree down to Boston, so they put it up in their square, and it's a big thing for us to, and it's well documented every year. But that was our gratitude, and we were so thankful that they helped us in our tragedy at the time. So I just want people to understand just how big those 3 words are: neighbors helping neighbors. And no matter what's being said, I don't want to, because, and there's so much misinformation going out. This is why I'm just going to put up this video at the moment on the fires, and just shows on the map that we, if that fire that's in Los Angeles right now, it would have flattened Ottawa, basically. And so the people can understand the devastation, and those that can't read, don't get the paper, but would like to look it up for various reasons. And I want our American friends, as well below the border, to realize that this is what we do. We may seem like a sleepy nation, but when we have to respond, we can respond. And people found that out, and even in the Second World War, when we scrambled to put our soldiers and everything together. So I just want to let everybody know that people, it's really about sharing with each other and sharing our luck, not our luck in good times, but in bad times we also share. It's about shared leadership, is what I've been talking about. So I'm going to leave it there, everyone, and pray for everyone that they don't find too many dead, and that people have survived, and they're going to survive this, and there's going to be help coming from all places that you never would have believed coming, because I know they're already banding in parts of California and across the states, I believe, to help the victims as well. As I know right now, the best way we can help as Canada is get our firefighters down there for everyone. So everyone, take care. Have a nice night, I guess, since this evening, and be careful with everyone. Be safe. Just hug your loved one close, and be thankful that you've got your loved ones and you're not fleeing a fire. So everyone, take care, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.